Do you ever get bored? Especially if you feel like you've heard something before and maybe heard it over and over again. I think that's maybe where a lot of people often are with church, because a lot of us have been to church a lot of our lives and we've been over and over again, and there's nothing new. The message is not supposed to be new. And I think that not only do we decide that we've heard it before, I think maybe we decide that everybody else has heard it before as well. That there's no reason for us to talk about what Jesus has done for us, what's good in the good news, because we think, well, everybody's heard it, everybody knows it. And maybe that's true, but there's a possibility not. One of the things that I think is true is that we are living in an unchurched generation. The researchers of surveys seem to suggest that slightly more than half the population is totally unchurched. Don't go to church, have no interest in church. There's something important for us to remember in that those of us who are involved in church, we tend to like to invite people to church. We probably need to remember, hey, they've already decided that's not them. It's kind of like inviting somebody to this great golf course who's decided they don't play golf. You might need to get them interested in golf before you get them to your golf course. And so a lot of folks are not interested in church, but there's something worth noticing about that may be a positive, and that's this. These are people who haven't heard it before. As I've mentioned before, Becky's taught kindergarten for 21 or 22 years, and we were both struck with how many of her kids didn't know a lot of what we thought were just sort of simple, basic things about who Jesus was. So maybe people haven't heard it before. Maybe what we think of as not so much news anymore is still news. And so as we think about being fired up and fueling the fire and get excited about our mission and about our task, maybe it would be easier to get excited and be fired up if we recognize, or if we believe, there's an opportunity there for us to share something really great with people that they don't know about. In addition to being an unchurched generation, I think it's fair to say that we are living in an uncertain generation. I spend time with college students, and the ones that I'm seeing that come to CSC and have religious discussions with me typically have some sort of a church background. But there's not a lot of information about the scriptures quite often. And more notably, more important right now is what I have sensed is a great deal of uncertainty about the future. The younger folks are not sure that life's going to turn out all that well. Things like marriage, they don't think you can know ahead of time. You just kind of have to hope it works out. That life seems to be unpredictable. You don't know when it's going to go off the rails. An awful lot of uncertainty that I believe God speaks to. You reap what you sow. You pick what you plant. If you hear and do these words, Jesus says, your house will stand. I've come that you might have life and have it to the full. Jesus and the apostles seem pretty sure that, hey, if you follow these guidelines, it's going to work out well. To an uncertain generation, some certainty probably would be refreshing and be good news. And I also think we live in something of an unloved generation. We can communicate with people all over the world, but quite often don't. And quite often we're isolated, more so in the last few months than perhaps ever. But I've made this comment, and you've seen it yourself. High school and college groups, and even adults, older adults, come into a room and sit down, and instead of talking to each other, quite often everybody's on their phones. We don't seem to connect well. An awful lot of people have grown up in broken homes, single-parent families. I don't think that we live in an era when people feel loved and valued and secure. If that's true, we have some good news from God through Jesus, that people are loved and are valued. What I'm getting at is this. I think there is good news in the gospel that's both good and is still news. And I'm not sure we remember that. But you tell me what you think. Do you think people have heard it all before? Do you think there's some things about the good news that will still be news? And do you have some ideas on how we can communicate that to people? How do we get that message out there in ways that are new and fresh and that will capture people's attention? I'd love to hear what you had to say. I'd love your thoughts. Share those in the comments if you would.